You lie there in the dark, the screen's afterglow still pulsing faintly behind your eyelids, even after you've set the phone face down. The room is quiet, too quiet, the kind of quiet that presses rather than soothes. Outside, distant traffic hums like something breathing through a wall. You shift beneath the blanket, seeking a cooler patch of sheet, but the restlessness follows. It isn't pain. It isn't hunger. It's smaller, more persistent, a low-level vibration in the chest that says, this isn't enough. You scroll in memory now, not on the device. Moments from the day replay, conversations that felt scripted, laughter that arrived on cue, notifications that promised connection and delivered only another tiny jolt of aloneness. You tell yourself, tomorrow will feel different. You always tell yourself, tomorrow will feel different. Yet the promise rings hollow, like a bell struck underwater. Breathe in. Hold. Let it out slowly. That restlessness you carry, it isn't new. It wears modern clothes, speaks in contemporary complaints, but its roots reach deeper than concrete and glass. Long before anyone measured time in hours or chased it in productivity apps, the human animal already knew this particular ache. The fear of being unmoored, of having no fixed place among the stars, the seasons, the faces that recognize you. Tonight, you are going to let that ache speak. Not to solve it, not to banish it, simply to let it sit beside you like an old friend who has walked a very long way. Close your eyes if they aren't already closed. Feel the weight of your skull settling into the pillow, the small muscles around your eyes softening. Let the breath move without direction. In and out. No forcing, no counting, just the slow tide of it. You are not here to learn anything tonight. You are here to remember something you never truly forgot. Imagine now a different dark, not the manufactured dark of blackout curtains and city sodium haze, but the thick, living dark that gathers under trees when the sun has bled out behind the ridge. A fire has been built, not for warmth alone, though the nights grow cold enough to need it, but because light is company. The flames are small at first, polite, testing the wood. Then they find their courage. Orange tongues lift, curl, speak in crackles, and soft thumps as resin pockets burst. Around this fire sit perhaps 12 people, maybe 15, no more. If faces you would recognize in daylight, even if you never learned their names. The woman who knows exactly which roots ease fever. The man whose hands remember how to nap flint so sharp it parts hide like water. The girl who laughs before anyone else because she believes laughter is a kind of courage. The elder whose eyes have begun to film over but whose memory still holds every story the group has ever told. They are tired. The day has been long, longer than your worst Monday. Someone tracked game until their calves burned. Someone carried water in skins that pulled at the shoulders. Someone else birthed nothing but pain from a thorn that slipped beneath a nail. Yet they have come here anyway. Not because the fire promises comfort. It doesn't always. Smoke stings. Sparks leap and bite. The ground is hard. But they come because the fire is the only place where everyone can see everyone else at once. You feel that pull now, don't you? Even though your body remains in soft cotton and climate control, some older part of you leans toward that imagined light. They eat first. Whatever the day gave. Roasted marrow bones split lengthwise so the rich yellow fat glistens. Strips of meat threaded on green sticks. Handfuls of berries that stain the fingers purple. Roots that were bitter until they were charred sweet. They eat without hurry. No one photographs the meal. No one rates it. The act of eating together is the rating. When the bones are sucked clean and the last berry's gone, someone, often the same someone, clears their throat. Not loudly, just enough to signal. The circle quiets. Even the children, who moments ago chased shadows, I settle against thighs and shoulders. The fire has settled too. It no longer leaps, it breathes. Steady red-gold heart beneath a loose weave of ash. And then the story begins. Not a new story. Never a new story. They have heard it before, many times. The children have heard it since they could understand language. The adults heard it when they were children. Even the eldest remembers being told the same tale by hands now returned to earth. Tonight, it might be the story of the woman who married the moon, or the boy who stole fire from the serpent's mouth, or the time the great river forgot its bed and walked across the land until the people sang it back. The details shift a little each time. Someone adds a bird that wasn't there before, someone forgets a name, but the bones of it remain. The shape, the weight. Why tell what everyone already knows? Because knowing is not the point. The point is being known. When the voice begins, low, unhurried, carrying the slight rasp of wood smoke, the listeners do not strain for novelty. They lean into recognition. Each familiar phrase is a hand reaching across the fire to touch them. You are still here. You belong to this telling. This telling still belongs to you. Repetition was never monotony. It was membership. You feel that now, even across centuries. The way the same words, spoken again, become a kind of gravity. They pull the scattered pieces of the day, the fear of the hunt, the ache in the back, the small jealousy that flared when someone else's child laughed louder, back into orbit around a shared center. The story moves, slowly. The teller does not rush. There is no applause waiting at the end. And no scroll to the next episode. Time is not money here. Time is the blanket they wrap around one another. So the teller lingers on the moment when the woman first saw the moon's reflection trembling in the pool. They describe the way the light shattered and reformed, over and over, until she understood that some things are beautiful because they break. You breathe with the rhythm of that voice you cannot hear, but somehow feel. In, out. The fire pops. Someone shifts to ease a hip. A child sighs and burrows deeper into the warmth of an adult's side. The story reaches the place everyone has been waiting for, not because it surprises, but because it confirms. The woman climbs the highest hill. She calls to the moon. The moon answers, not in words, but in silver that pours down her arms, her breasts, her thighs, until she shines like the moon herself. Then she walks back to the people, no longer quite one of them, yet more one of them than ever. Silence after the last word. Not empty silence. Full silence. The kind that holds everything just said. No one claps. No one says, beautiful. They simply sit with it. The fire hisses as a drop of sap explodes. An owl calls far off, once, twice. Someone adds a small stick to the coals. The gesture is enough, thanks. Later, much later, when the stars have turned, the stories continue. Another voice, another tale everyone knows. The same slow circling, the same quiet landing. You notice something now, lying there in your own dark. The restlessness that greeted you when you first lay down has not disappeared, but it has changed shape. It is less jagged, more like a tide that rises and falls rather than a wire vibrating under strain. They did not tell those stories to pass time. They told them to make time bearable. They told them because hardship was real. Teeth breaking cold, bellies that clenched around emptiness. Children who did not wake. Wounds that smelled wrong. And the stories did not erase any of it. They simply placed it inside a larger pattern. A pattern repeated so often that even grief began to feel like part of the weave, rather than a tear in it. Nostalgia whispers that it was simpler then. Nostalgia lies sweetly. It was not simpler. It was harder in ways you can barely imagine. Childbed fever, teeth that rotted before 30, predators that watched from the tree line with patient yellow eyes, winter that could last 6 moons and leave only bones. Yet within that hardness, there was placement. You were not an individual floating in abstract potential. You were daughter, brother, carrier of water, singer of the rain-calling song, keeper of the ember that must not die. Your name might change with your deeds, but your place did not. Modern life offers a different promise. You can be anything. The freedom is real. The vertigo is real too. You can feel it tonight. That vertigo. The sense that the ground beneath you is not ground at all, but a thin platform suspended over nothing. No one will sing you back if you stray too far. No fire waits to receive the story of your day. Breathe. Let the breath remind you, you are still body, still animal, still wired for the same ancient consolations. The fire in your imagination has burned lower now. The logs collapse inward with a soft sigh. Their faces recede into shadow. Only the ember glow remains, small red constellations pulsing in the ash. Someone stirs the coals. A thin blue flame rises, then fades. The elder speaks, only a sentence or two. Something about the stars being the campfires of those who walked before. No one answers. No one needs to. The children are asleep against shoulders. The adults remain awake a little longer, not because they must, but because the fire still holds warmth and the night still holds questions. You lie there with them. You do not need to solve the contradiction. The contradiction is the cradle. We miss the past, not because it lacked suffering, it overflowed with suffering, but because suffering wore a shared face. Because pain, repeated in story, became meaning. Because repetition was not redundancy. It was the heartbeat of belonging. One feel that heartbeat now, not in memory, in your own chest, slow, steady, not asking you to become anything other than what you already are. A creature who once sat around fires, who listened to the same words until the words became home. The embers are very low. A last thin curl of smoke rises, fragrant with cedar and memory. No one speaks. No one needs to. The fire does not die abruptly. It simply grows quieter. Red fades to dusky rose, to faint orange, to the color of old blood beneath skin. Then even that withdraws, leaving only ash that holds heat longer than you expect. You do not move to cover the coals. You do not stir them back to flame. You let them be. Let the night take the last of the light. Let your breath slow until it is almost indistinguishable from the slow settling of the world. Here, in this final stillness, there is no story left to tell, because every story has already been told. And you were there. You are still there. The ash cools. The dark deepens. And somewhere beneath it all, the smallest ember, too small to see, too stubborn to vanish, waits for tomorrow's hand to find it. Breathe. Let go. Sleep claims you gently, the way night claims the fire. Not as an ending, but as a long, shared pause. Rest now. You have a place. You always did.